Hey everyone, so I thought I would take a little bit of time out and put together a very quick tutorial on how to set up the parent constraints for the heavy lifting assignment this week. Here you can see I've got Norman. I've given him a table and a ball to pick up and put him in a relatively relaxed sort of pose where he's sort of contemplating the weight of the ball. So what you want to do is, one of the things I did want to show you guys is a little tip on making your life a little bit easier. The first one, what I would recommend is, especially when you're doing these animations, you know which controls you're going to be manipulating a lot, and going through and selecting them all, especially when you're trying to knock out your keys, can be particularly frustrating. So what I will do is I'm going to select the right wrist control, and then I'm going to select the left wrist control, the left and right feet control because I know I use those a lot, the knee controls, and I'm going to use the waist controls. I'm going to use the pelvis control, and then of course all of the spine controls. So I'm going to start at the top, and with the shift key held down, I'm just going to go right down the spine. And so I've got all those controls selected. Oh yeah, and I also want the elbow controls selected. So even though I'll be animating with the face as well, I typically would like to have that set up separately, because the keyframes won't always happen at the same time. So I'm going to keep those unselected for this particular exercise. Oh yeah, the other thing is the fingers. I'm going to hold down the shift key and select the that's my notification if you heard that. But shift select all of the finger controls, and once I've got them all selected, what I want to do is actually I'm going to create a new shelf. So new shelf, and I will call this Norman controls. Oh, Norman underscore controls. All right, so now I have a nice blank shelf up here. So again, with all these things selected, I'm going to go to create, sets, and then quick select set. And then I'll just call this Norman body quick select. And then I'm going to click on add to shelf. And you can see now I've got an icon up here that the highlight says quick replace Norman body quick select. And you can see I've got a quick select group down here. And if you expand it in your outliner, you can see it's got everything that I had selected under it. So what's cool is that once I'm just kind of, if I need to go through and like quickly select all of those things, I can actually just use that button, and you can see it selects everything. So since this is my first key, I'm going to make sure that everything is selected. I'm going to hit S to set the keyframes for that one. And let's just say, so this is 30. I've got 90 frames total for this one. For frame 10, and this is the blocking part, what I'm going to do is just kind of go through and move Norman around quickly, see if I can get just a rough actually I want that foot to stay the same. This one to move over here. I'm going to move Norman over his waist. I'm going to rotate it a little bit so it's kind of pointing the ball as it probably would. His foot's going to be out like this. This knee's going to be out. And as you kind of get things, as you start dialing things in, you kind of have to make adjustments as you go. So like this, I'm gonna kind of squat him down. I didn't make that ball very big, so he's gonna have to really crunch down. And so with the hand controls, I'm just going to move them roughly to where they need to go. And same thing with this one. I just got to get it close for right now. I'm still just sort of blocking this in. So he needs to rotate. Actually, let me do object. That way it's all relative. All right. So he needs to be over a little bit. Then I'm going to select the spine controls and rotate that. And what I'm doing is I'm rotating his back until I can see those elbows bend. And that's really way too far. So that doesn't give me a lot of room to play with. So just until that I see that his left arm bend, and then I know I probably need to bring his right hand controls back up. So I've got that select. Well, once I get it selected, there we go. All right. And this leg is kind of intersecting with his foot, so I am going to just go in there and select that knee and just kind of move it out a bit. And all right, so I'm not going to do the finer poses, but just mostly I want to, and so you can see the elbow's kind of weird here because it's bent outward. So I'm going to go ahead and, whoops, rotate this back a little bit so it's rotated in a little bit more realistic fashion. Same thing with this one. I'm going to kind of move this back a little bit. And it's pretty decent. So again, I'm going to use my selection set and then hit S. So now I've got from there to there. And all right, so we're good for right now. So what I've got now is I've got two keys for this animation, one where he's standing, the other where he's actually getting his hands on the ball. And what we need to do now is create these connections between the hand controls and the ball. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop right here and I'm going to set up another video just so that these don't take too long. So in any case, hopefully this has helped so far. I will, the next video we'll talk about actually establishing those connections.